Give me a second, guys. Got a last minute broadcast coming up. I'm waiting for it to go live on all platforms. All right, here we go. Hey, everybody. Happy after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, whatever you want to call it. I've got a major update. And within the hour, Jeff Younger will be joining me on the platform. He is on his way home. He wants to let you guys know about something. We have some pretty big developments in the Save James case. And I figured I would come on a little bit before, because every time I report on this story, there's someone that's unfamiliar with it, doesn't know what's going on. And the thing we get asked the most is like, how can we help? How can we make sure this doesn't happen? This case started around 5 years ago, guys, where his ex plans to chemically castrate his son, wants to turn the boy into a girl. He's been fighting it. Spent about $1.5 million. It started there in Texas. His ex was a pediatrician. And he started noticing this at a very young age. There was like some social stuff that was going on there, right? And every time he went to Texas to try to get somebody to wake up and give him some type of support, they ruled against him. Well, we got the law passed in Texas where they made this transition surgery illegal. What happens? Goes to the Supreme Court and they allow her to move to California. And anybody that's not aware of what's going on in California, they allow this, right? And so it's just been a completely mind-blowing case. It's hard to report on because there is people that still think this is not really happening. I think there's a lot of them that know it's happening, but they try to use the lack of awareness for people to push that it's not happening so they can kind of get it under the radar. We've got a couple of months, guys. Like, I don't care which side of politics that you sit on, but we've got a couple of months before Donald Trump gets in office where he said the first thing he's doing when he gets in office is making these surgeries illegal. Who can this happen to? Why should you care about it? I mean, look, Elon Musk, labeled as the richest man on earth. I think there's a lot of those other guys over there. You don't know how much money they got, the oil tycoons, but on paper, the richest man on earth, he went through this situation himself with his child where they went through the surgery. And what they tell you is that if you don't do this, that your kid is not going to want to be on earth anymore, if you can read between the lines. And so he was forced in the process, not forced, but manipulated into going along with this. And it's so crazy, man. So crazy. There is some good news, and I want him to be able to explain it to you. They've got a really big meeting that's going to be going on around 5 p.m. Central. That's going to be 6 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be on his X. They'll be leading a room. The crypto community is rallying behind this case. And why is this important? One of the number one hurdles that we have getting these issues out there, guys, or getting any support is the funding. We are not going to get any government grants. There's nobody sitting around saying, hey, let me help fund this and get some relief for this boy. I mean, now $1.5 million, obviously there was people that were donating to this, trying to get some help. But compared to the other side in this opposition, the tens of millions and billions of dollars that go to create all of what you're seeing right here. I mean, at the end of the day, money is what drives this system to be what it is. Somebody is wanting to make money off of the pain and torture of other people. And there's politicians and lots of other people that know how much money is behind it. And it's the reason why I don't think you have any relief in here. I'm not going to put all the blame on the left. If you go to the state of Texas, the governor there, Abbott, they begged him to step in and do something about this case and block it. Didn't do it. People need to know that. People definitely didn't know that because it surprises more people when I tell them that. But here it is, man. I mean, this could have been stopped a long time ago. The amount of money that will be made off of it when you look at the legal system and the way the attorneys are pushing this and big pharma and everything, they essentially become a customer for life, okay? Because they get put on these puberty blockers and they have to take these hormones for the rest of their life. Now, I want to ask you guys, if you are a father and you're going through this, could you imagine what it would be like to fight this? And make no mistake, there's a lot of people support this happening to this young boy. That's what shocks me. I mean, it's crazy enough to me to even think that this is a conversation, let alone that it has the amount of support that it has. And we're going to have to step in and do something about this, guys. We got to be proactive instead of reactive. You know, I'd like to talk to, I'm glad every one of the media outlets that I see has been talking about this lately, but we needed you months ago. We actually needed you years ago. And this is one of those issues that needs to be hit very, very hard. And it needs focus on it all the time until there is something that's done about it. I don't know how I can stress it anymore. I really don't. But when I saw this, I woke up this morning, Jeff was telling me about this broadcast that's coming up. And I said, man, dude, let me know what's going on, how I can support, because this is how we've got to organize, guys. I don't care what platform it's on, as long as it's getting some relief at the end of the day. I said, let me get on my platform and tell people they need to come to your platform to see this. Right now, there is a lot of eyeballs on this, and we need to take advantage of it while we can. Okay, you're sending me something now. I am going to, give me a second, guys. How many of you are familiar with crypto? There's a lot of pushback on that as well. Give me a second. I am doing this as we are talking. As you can tell, this was not a planned thing. I'm getting the notes so that I can post it to you guys and give you the links of where this is going to be going on, but I got to send it to myself really quick. I have been following this case from the very beginning, and I can tell you, man, it has really been a David versus Goliath thing. There's a lot of people that just do not want to report on this. They are afraid to report on it. They are afraid of the consequences that comes along with it, being known for being associated with it. And it really kind of ticks me off, to be honest with you, because, okay, it's not going to let me add it. I'll have to do it afterwards. But I just put it down there in the show notes, guys. All right. Awesome. Daewoo's Malaga. Save James. That is it, guys. It's the money sign with Save James on it. I'm going to make sure this gets posted everywhere. God bless you and your family. Hey, man, thank you. And God bless your family as well, man. I mean, guys, if this was something that I was going through, I would hope that people would rally behind me and do this too. And it's sad. People think these courts work as they're supposed to. This is where you go to for justice. Now, if I'm a dad and I'm not able to see my kid, or there's something like this that's going on, and I sound the alarm, hey, I am completely opposed to this. I do not want anybody changing the gender of my child. Oh, I got him on here now. This is my time to shut up. Jeff, what's going on, brother?
How you doing, man?
I'm a little worked up.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I was just telling everybody about your case and what's going on, but I know that you can explain it much, much better.
Well, I've just been very surprised by the kindness of a number of communities that I've gotten involved with. I mean, frankly, even the radical feminists, who are against this transgender stuff have been very kind. They've been very kind to me, and supportive. And a lot of them are actually for equal parenting. So I was surprised by that. So I've had my eyes have been opened in very positive ways about different communities and their responses to the tragedies of family court that we all know so much about. So I was really taken aback still after this has happened for years, and I've had this great outreach from different communities I wouldn't have expected for. The crypto community reached out to me last week, and there's international outrage about these transgender procedures. I don't think a lot of people understand the international situation, but these procedures are already illegal in most of Europe. They've got 20 years of experience with these medical procedures on kids, and they know that they don't work, and they ban them. Even with issues like abortion, people think of Europe as wide open for abortion, but abortion after 12 weeks is pretty much not found anywhere in Europe. It's a serious crime. So Europe is is in many ways more pro-natalist, pro-child than the United States is today. So it didn't surprise me that there was international outrage about it. And I get calls from international media all the time. So the international crypto community, group of young men who themselves are contemplating, the troubles they could face in marriage, are just outraged by the what's happening to children and about how fathers don't have rights. So they put together a coin in order to gather support in the crypto community, particularly with Solana, and gave me gave me the majority ownership of the coin. And what I have discovered is that it's an absolutely fantastic way to essentially crowdsource humanitarian charities, legal funding, and other things that crosses international borders in a way that just can't be stopped by the courts and by the governments. And I just thought I'd share that with people today, because I was just really surprised by the outpouring of support from the Solana community.
So much to be excited about with what you just said. But I think one of the things that excited me the most is hearing about these young men that realize this is a problem that they themselves could be going through. And I wasn't trying to use pronouns, but they could be going through themselves. And they're saying, we've got to get behind this and we've got to stop it. And knowing that we have a tool like the crypto community over there and that they're getting involved, man, it's just a good feeling. I believe there is something going on right now, Jeff, that I can't quite put my finger on. And I'm just glad it's happening. People are waking up to this madness. You mentioned the feminists. They're pushing back on it. A lot of support behind this comes from the gay community. The gay community is saying, hey, we don't support this right here, but we're getting grouped into this with the alphabet. And we're not behind this either. Where's some other support that you've seen come behind this, Jeff, that people might not realize is opposed to it?
I get calls from mothers all the time, mothers especially that have sons or grandsons that are just absolutely mortified by this. And they have given me just tremendous outreach. I have 2 prayer groups that I regularly attend, and they're run by mothers with sons. I have, believe it or not, from adult trans people reach out to me all the time, and they're just horrified this is being allowed for children. And there's a couple that have really come to me for a lot of life advice, a lot of I've sent a couple to different churches. And that is really surprising. I think that there's just a widespread awakening.
Oh yeah.
That the philosophy that was promulgated in the 60s, 70s, and 80s, that fathers are unimportant and superfluous. Everyone from the LGBT community to even a lot of feminists are realizing that that's just false, and it's actually going to hurt everybody, not just men.
I often talk about it, like just how strong and organized this group is, but I want for the feminists to think about this. I grew up my whole life, Jeff, being told that a man doesn't put his hands on a woman. Now, I think that goes both ways. No woman should lay their hands on a man either. It should be equal respect. But it was just the thing. No man lays their hands on a woman. And I see what you did at UNT, where you went and spoke, and you was met by violent protests with them spitting on you, hitting you. And it was very ugly, but I expected nothing different, honestly. But just like a week after that, you've got Riley Gaines talking about her case where they allowed a transgender to compete in a sport and take a medal away from her that she had busted her ass for her whole life. And when she went to the college to speak about this, there was some trans women who were biological men that actually participated and beating the crap out of her. And there wasn't any consequences for these guys because they said they were women. They were allowed to beat up a biological woman and get away with it. I think this should really be concerning and sound the alarm off for the feminists, because it's not just coming after fathers' rights. It's coming after everybody.
That's exactly right. When I was at UNT, they used every dirty trick in the book, right? They went from disruption to auditory stuff where they scream in your ear, to physical proximity. At one point, they had all surrounded me and were pushing and shoving me, to bodily fluids. You know, they used every trick in the book to get me to leave. And that's kind of like what happens with women. You know, they use the same techniques on women. They don't distinguish between the two. If they want you out of that space, they have a program of disgust to ramp it up until you leave.
Oh, yeah.
In my case, they had to essentially ramp up to terroristic threats and trying to set fire to the building. Riley Gaines, they began to threaten her physically, you know. So our opponents, you know, really don't have limits. I mean, this is something to think about. Like, they don't have limits.
Hands off, man, or gloves off. They're any way that they can push this, they're going to. Guys, we got limited time because I got another broadcast I got to be on here within the next 30 minutes. So I really want to take this time and stress, because I'm going to be following Jeff's case like nonstop. This crypto, Jeff, and guys, the tag is up at the top. The money sign, save James. Put it anywhere and everywhere. Make it go viral. This is how you organize. This is how you get stuff done. And it's very important for the viewers to know this is like the biggest struggle that we've had fighting behind any of these issues. We don't get the government funding and have the support that a lot of these guys do. So seeing that we've got this tool where we can create this, just talk about all the ways, Jeff, and stress the importance of why this is such a big deal. And also at the same time, 5 p.m. Central today and 6 p.m. Eastern, you're going to be doing a special broadcast where they can find more about it. I'm going to hand it over to you, brother.
Yeah, I'm going to be going on to X, and we're going to have like actual members of the Solana community there to talk about why and what their motivations are. But what I'm seeing is a huge sea change, which I think to a large degree has been led by Musk. In the way we think about technology and its relationship to independent human action. And you're starting to see the crypto community realizing that its real power is in advancing humanitarian efforts completely independent of any government interference and debanking and any other things that might happen. And so the Solana community has really stepped up and said, you know, this is a cause where we have a little boy who's about to be, you know, permanently injured. And they can see themselves as young men looking forward in their life, and they don't want this to happen to them. And they know it has to be stopped now. You know, I've often used the analogy, the spear analogy, you know, that you have the tip of the spear. And those are the people that have made the personal sacrifices, often not by choice. Like for me, it wasn't by choice. I was thrown into this. I mean, honestly, if you know my temperament, I am not a man by temperament to lead democratic movements or anything else, right? I'm a mathematician, man. So this is not natural for me. I was thrown into this. So some people, most of the people are thrown to be the tip of the spear. They have to fight. They have no choice. And then the big sharp spearhead behind the point are the people that support those who are doing the fighting. And that's the role the Solana community has really carved out. And it's a way of doing it. It's very interesting because it's not just me benefiting. Everyone that buys into the Save James coin in some way benefits. I just have the largest ownership of any one person for it, but everybody can share in the ownership. And as it goes up, everyone can benefit. It's what I call doing well by doing good. You can do well for yourself by doing good. And if we can create incentives, financial incentives, economic incentives, social incentives for people to do well for themselves by doing good for others, you're going to have a prosperous and healthy society. And a lot of these problems are going to automatically generate opposition.
Could this possibly be a sign to the politicians that you might want to pay attention to us as a voting bloc and watch what's going on here? I definitely think it speaks very loudly, some of these actions, and I love the way that you put that, you know, help yourself by doing good, because that's what you're doing. I got involved in crypto a little over a year ago, and I was shocked just how well I did. It outperforms the stock market in many ways, instances, guys. If you watch what you do, you can lose on it, but so far it's been pretty safe to go over there and
Oh,
bet, as long as you're not on altcoins and stuff. It is thriving, and it's another reason why the government or the Democrats is really wanting to get it out of here. And so, money tag save James, guys. Make sure we get there. So, Jason Bermender, he said, I'm a little late. So we buy the money tag Jeff coin and money goes to Jeff. I'm not familiar with crypto. Maybe break that down. It's not exactly Jason. Break that down for him, Jeff.
So basically, these coins have like a market cap, and the larger the share of coins, the larger the share goes to the party that was selected for the donations. So the larger the pool of coins, the more the market cap grows. And so that's kind of how it works. I'm actually pretty new to crypto myself. It's really just in the last week. The community has been like super good at educating me about it. They explained everything.
There's a lot to learn.
Yeah, helped me set up my wallet and everything. So it's the coin is Save James. It's not the Dollar Jeff coin. It's Save James. I'm trying to find. Well, in the thing that you posted, it actually has the crypto address for it, so you can always find it there.
Yep, I got it up at the top. And so I think one of the things, guys, instead of the traditional, donate to this cause, so we can get this funding, you're not actually, it's helping Jeff, but you're kind of helping yourself too, because you'll have an investment in that coin as well, from the way I'm picking up on it.
Yeah, definitely. And don't confuse things. These things can go down too. There is some risk to it. But it's a thing where, people can win with me. They don't have to just have me win and get my legal fees paid. You can win too. And that's actually one of the most important things. And I think it's actually been, as I think about this, every time I talk to you, I get a new idea. As I talk about this and think about it, this may be where we've kind of had a hard time in this movement.
It is.
People
100%.
give money, but they don't actually have any skin in the game. And so they give once and they've done their part, right?
Yeah.
But we've got so many fathers. We need a way that everybody wins when they give. And at least everybody has a chance to win. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, man. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it, because a lot of these guys, I've said, people talk down on the fathers' rights in the organization because like they do rallies, and I've told them, like, they'll say, we're going to do a 1,000,000-man rally or something like that. And I'm like, guys, be careful of that. It used to really get me down, Jeff, that we didn't see more men at these rallies and stuff. But then I just had to look at the reality. If you're one of these dads that is going through family court, you got an attorney, you're having to pay the child support, the alimony, the legal fees. These are guys that can't not only afford to give a donation, but they can't take a day off of work. They can't get an airplane ticket to go and do a lot of this stuff. I mean, it's just not there for them in the grand scheme of things. So this is one of those ways that you guys can support the ones that are fighting. And in the meantime, it could actually come back to really benefit you. We're taking power away from the ones that have had all the power when we do something like this.
That's what I just didn't understand about crypto until the Solana community really kind of explained to me how it all works. As you know, I'm an applied mathematician and I'm well aware of what the blockchain kind of is generally, but I didn't understand how it's being used socially and economically. It's empowering people outside of the traditional finance structures. And it's really bringing microfinance to people that could never possibly get it in the past. I mean, if you look at me, I've spent in total economic costs over $1.5 million trying to stop my son from being chemically castrated.
Is it over 1.5 now?
Yeah, it's over. Yeah, since California.
That number grew very quickly, guys.
Yeah, I mean, I spent this year total economic costs over $300K. So if you think about it, the way we have approached it with just like gifts and go and that kinds of stuff, and that's all great. They're good people.
We were thankful for having it. You know,
Yes, it's great for
absolutely.
donations, but what I'm saying is I think our community, our family rights community that's focused on doing good for families long term, I think we need to enter this crypto economic system and take charge of it, because we're going to be independent of the banks, the child support system, and everything. And I've paid all this money, but I pay over $30,000 a year in child support every year too. Plus, I have travel expenses to go to California, and I have a federal lawsuit. I'm about to have another one. Trump
And
is
you
about,
haven't been able to work. I mean, I got to
well,
put that out there for you, man.
I don't normally talk about that, but
I know you don't, but it's just that I don't want to see you go to the fact. I mean, a couple of months ago for me, Jeff, I mean, I didn't know if I was going to be able to pay my house payment. And this is a full-time effort that you got to do. And if the ones that are out there trying to push the issues can't even keep the lights on and food on the table for their loved ones, it makes it hard to get anything done. And so eventually it's something true that we need to address beforehand. And that's what I talk about, the proactive instead of reactive. Because when you're on the other end, it's hard, man. And you need to be supported.
All right. I'll talk about it. I don't normally talk about it. It's the first time I probably ever talked about it, but
I know.
After I went on to Tucker Carlson's show, the HR department in the company I was working terminated me within 7 days. And they knew what they were doing was illegal, because they can't, it's an Arizona-based company, and they can't fire me for my political expression. So they gave me a pretty large severance. I mean, a very large severance, actually. And I signed a document saying I wouldn't sue them, because, why you want to work at a company where they're always looking for a reason to fire you anyway? You don't want to do that.
Right.
And basically what it comes down to is because I oppose castrating little kids, HR departments in the United States and Canada have put me on a blacklist. And I've had headhunters and recruiters tell me repeatedly that I'm on a blacklist. And so I pretty much can't work in my industry anymore. And so I have had to go out and pursue economic opportunities in all kinds of different other areas. One of the nice things about mathematics is that it's versatile and it can be applied to many things. So I don't, a lot of my expertise can be applied to many, many industries. But when people talk, recently Mark Andreessen was on the Joe Rogan show. And Mark Andreessen, if you don't know, is one of the largest venture capitalists in America. His company funded most of the AI startups that happened in the last really 8 years. And the government killed all of his startups. They literally told him, we're not going to do AI startups in America. The government's only going to allow 5 big companies to have AI startups. And so don't fund AI startups because we're going to kill all of them. Like, they literally told him that in a meeting. So there's definitely a kind of cartel in most of the technology community. And if you're not on board with the woke agenda, you're not getting into these companies at the level that I work. So that's just the reality. So I've got all kinds of expenses because I'm starting up a new company. I have to build products on my own, and I have to license intellectual property. I have to go to a completely different way of monetizing my skills and expertise. And I've had to do all that while I'm spending, between 40 and 60 hours a week learning California law and defending my son in California.
Flying back and forth, spending money on hotels. I actually rented an apartment for $4,000 a month for 6 months because it was cheaper. Believe it or not, it's actually cheaper. Hard to believe. And plus, at the same time, I have a household to maintain here. I still have all the expenses for my kids, birthdays and everything that I do for them. So it's tremendously difficult. It's really like working 3 jobs is what it is. Now, I'm not complaining about it because it's my kids. Frankly, you never even mentioned it.
I like working for my kids. I mean, what else are you going to do but work for your kids? It's the best thing. Working for your family is the best thing you'll ever do. But this is just another way. The crypto world and the Save James coin is just another way for us to work for our families. And I think in the future, I think we want to maybe work with some of these Solana communities and, do this for a lot of other good things. We have a lot of things we work for. We're working for fathers and mothers to have equal access to their kids. There's a lot of things we could do here that could be a win for everybody and would get some of these things done where we could get enough economic power to make a difference in state legislatures. And I just want to take my hat off to my European brothers and sisters in the Solana community, European and South American brothers and sisters. I have gotten so much more care and support from this community. It's just amazing. And I think what we have here is a transnational movement, a global movement that's about promoting family and kids and making sure that our kids can access the crypto ecosystem and our kids can benefit from, and we can leave what we earn to our kids. There's just a tremendous amount that these crypto communities are doing. They're so forward thinking that I'm still trying to catch up with them. I've just learned a lot from them. They're good people. And I'm just so grateful. And I know my son will be grateful in the future that they even came up with this idea of the Save James coin. It's really a wonderful thing.
It's those out of the box ideas that you don't see coming.
Yeah.
That usually makes such an impact, man. I was so excited when I saw it because last year I had my investment in Solana, and I can tell you, man, it's one that I don't think you need to pay attention to it, guys. It's very, very beneficial. Let's talk about this broadcast that you're going to be doing later on tonight, because this is kind of a new way. I mean, a lot of our people are over on Facebook, and a lot of times they don't go to other platforms, but they've got some tools over there on X that are really leading the charge, guys. What's going to be going on in this broadcast, Jeff? Who's going to be joining you, and what's going to be the subject matter?
So we're going to have some of the crypto experts that have helped me understand how to do this, and the people that really, frankly, are managing this campaign. They're coming on to U.S. time, and they're going to take some of their valuable time to help explain what's going on and what really motivates them to do this, and their ideas about taking these kind of humanitarian efforts to the next level using crypto. And really, it's amazing. We're all following in the footsteps of Elon Trump, Elon and Trump. Elon Musk, is the one who really developed and showed us just the power of these meme coins. And Trump, it was very skeptical of crypto for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to the point of even considering legislation against it. But really, I think his relationship with Elon showed him what it was. It's a movement that liberates both human aspirations and human capital to flow where it's needed most, and in a way that everybody benefits. It's not like a donation; everybody benefits from it. So it's just been shocking to me to notice that we're all still walking behind these two great leaders. It's quite something.
Absolutely, man.
And we'll talk about that. We'll talk about the history of that and kind of what this coin is about, what we're trying to do.
I'm looking forward to that. I mean, it's there is a lot involved, but I can tell you guys, like I've seen it. I've seen it completely change people's lives around. So this is something that could benefit everybody. Max on YouTube said, "Do you have any hope that Trump will pass any laws to promote fairness for fathers in family court?"
Here's the problem that we face in the federal courts. The Supreme Court promulgates a rule called the Domestic Relations Exception Rule. You can Google that. The Domestic Relations Exception Rule prohibits federal courts from taking even constitutional rights and civil rights cases from state courts. So if your constitutional rights have been violated by a family court, there's just a rule from the Supreme Court of the United States that says, we don't care. We're not going to take your case. So if you ever wonder why, Eric, why all of our cases get dismissed in federal court, it's because of the Domestic Relations Exception Rule. One of the things that Trump could do is if he could promote and champion a statute through the House and the Senate that would essentially counteract the domestic relations exception rule. And that's what I'm hoping to talk to Trump about soon. I'm going to Mar-a-Lago soon. I can't tell you when. And the reason is I want to ask him, when he talked about in his video about the transgender issue, that he was going to create a federal cause of action for parents to sue in federal court. What I want him to add to that federal cause of action is that any parent whose constitutional civil rights have been violated in family court can use the same cause of action and sue. That would change the game, because we would get out of the corrupt family courts into the corrupt federal courts. And the truth is, the corrupt federal courts love to give oversight to the states. And so it could actually change things.
You know, I think one of the biggest things in making sure Trump can do something like that is having the right people surrounding him. I mean, look at who he has surrounded himself with over the past several months, and people are excited about that. I know you can't talk about it, but just hearing that you are going to be at Mar-a-Lago and that you may get a seat at the table, that's what it's going to take. Do I think he would get behind it? Yes, but he needs the right people around him saying this is what needs to be done and why. Because you imagine being that guy, all these different issues that he's got, you know, that goes under that umbrella. Well, he didn't do anything about this, but guys, he's got to get the right people. I mean, there is thousands of issues out there right now. And so this is how it happens. That's one step closer.
Right.
And I want to say thank you to Elon Musk, man, I mean, dude, he has done so much, not
Amazing.
just for our community, but he gave many people their voice back. And to know that he himself is going through it. I see that he has been tweeting about your stuff. Not trying to get too personal. Has there been a conversation yet, Jeff?
There has not, and I think that is the kind of thing that would happen in a forum like Mar-a-Lago,
I do too.
where there's no reporters, nobody's recording, and things like that. But I think the importance of Elon Musk is this: if you, first of all, nobody's ever done heavy industry like Elon Musk in the history of the world. He's the greatest heavy industry industrialist the world has ever known. He's incredibly forward thinking. He's thinking 3 generations ahead. He's not thinking in his lifetime. He's thinking 3 generations ahead. That's the kind of planning and things that you just don't see in normal people. So there's just a tremendous amount that we owe this guy. And I don't think a lot of people get this. Tesla and SpaceX open source almost all their patents. So they have all these patents of technology they developed. You can use them. They're open sourced. You can use them. They don't stop competitors from using their technology. Like, people just don't do things like this. There's never been an industrialist that does things like Elon Musk. But the most of all that, I think it's not as important as this one thing about Elon Musk, is that he loves his children and he's a darn good father. And I think his industry, his productivity, his forward thinking, his politics, everything he does is motivated by the fact that he loves his children and wants to be a good father to them. He truly does understand us. He gets what we're going through.
General good human being, dude. He really wants to leave the world in a better place than the way he found it. Now you can tell he cares.
Yeah,
he truly does care.
And as usual, it's rooted in a father's love of his children.
Absolutely, 100%.
It's an amazing thing to watch.
To hop on another broadcast. I hate to end this so quick, but we will be getting Jeff back on sometime soon. Tonight, 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern. Get over there to X at Jeff Younger Show, where you can be a part of this. I am begging anybody from the Dad Talk community, get over there. If you're not on X, sign up, because it's an important platform that we are going to need to organize. But on the way out, Jeff, I'll just let you tell everybody what they need to do, man.
Yeah, show up and find out how crypto, I think, is going to change the future of how we actually organize politically and socially in the world. It's literally that big of a change.
There we go. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.